Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's virtual webinar for the school year, before we open the school year. We have a couple more minutes before we start, so we thank you for joining and look forward to beginning soon. Thank you. Good evening, and again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining the Chester Upland School District for our first virtual community meeting of the year this Thursday, August 22nd, 5 to 6:30. Before we get started, just a few logistics here. So there's a presentation for you today to learn more about what is happening in the upcoming year for the Chester Upland School District. But before we do that, just a few notes. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions that you would like to share, please share that information in the chat so that we will be able to capture that at the end of the presentation. If we have an opportunity to go through any of those questions, we will absolutely do so. If we don't have the opportunity to do so, we will make sure we have all of the questions answered, and or any suggestions we will take into consideration and return that information out publicly in the next 2 to 3 business days in English and in Spanish. So again, I would like to welcome you. Thank you for joining, and I will turn it over to Receiver Nichols for opening remarks, and then to Board President Neal and the Board of Directors for a welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Mumeen. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of myself, the elected school board members, our superintendent, Dr. Mumeen, central administration, faculty, and staff, we thank you and welcome you to tonight's presentation. Dr. Mumeen and team have put together a great presentation with pertinent information to ensure that everyone receives it timely for the upcoming school year. This is the first of many, many virtual and also in-person meetings that we will be having this year. This year, we're going to do more and be more out in the community, hosting these types of events to share the great things that are happening in the Chester Upland School District, and to also get feedback that we need so that we can continue to push forward and, from my standpoint, recover in Chester Upland School District so that we can turn the district back over to our community. We're very, very close. As Dr. Mumeen stated, we most certainly will entertain any questions that you guys, the community members have. I want to reiterate that on Tuesday at 3 p.m., our back to school event, we will have a meet the administrator table there for any follow-up. The receivers meeting is next Thursday at 6 p.m. And following that meeting, there will also be a meet and greet for the community to come and meet your administrators, your principals, your vice principals for the upcoming school year. We really, really want to be very personable this year and again, engage the community more than we had in the past. A couple of updates and spillers that I would like to give if I can, and I don't want to cut into the presentation, but we're happy to announce we have a special receivers meeting tomorrow. We finally came to agreement with all of our collective bargaining units. So we have employment contracts in place for every CBA in the district. So that's something that we're extremely excited about. You know, upon my arrival, there were no contracts in place with any union. We were able to do that within a 9-month period. And those contracts did expire June 30 of 2024. And now we're entering into new agreements that will take us years beyond. And the one thing that I'm extremely excited about is that this team's worked very, very hard to close the wage gap and make our salaries more competitive in the Delaware County area. So we're not where we want to be, but we keep getting closer to where we want to go. So I'm excited about that. And again, tomorrow that meeting happens at 5:30. And it's solely just to go over personnel things related to our collective bargaining agreement. And we also have a draft recovery plan that we will be in court on September the 18th, presenting that recovery plan to Judge Dozier for his approval. PDE has already signed off on it. So we're excited about that as well, because we now have a roadmap to success. So Dr. Mumeen, I don't want to steal any more of your thunder in your presentation or you, President Neal. I'll turn it over to President Neal so that we can get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here this evening. Thank you all.
President Neil, are you speaking? You may be on mute.
I don't, is there any board member who is speaking on behalf of the board this evening?
It looks like President
Oh,
Neil
President
may
Neal,
have.
there she is. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like she may be having a technical issue, so I don't know if any other of our other board members would like to speak.
Yeah, this is Director Morales. Just want to welcome the community on behalf of the elected school board. We hope to see you tomorrow at our special receivers meeting and again on August 29th for our regular scheduled receivers meeting.
Thank you, Board Member Morales. Give me one moment. So thank you again for joining this evening. Just a brief introduction. I just wanted to share a little bit about me for any community members that I may not have had the opportunity to meet, who I may not have been aware. But before I start that, I see President Neal is going in and out, so I don't know if you wanted to say anything before I get started, President Neal. Okay, so again, welcome and thank you for participating in this event. I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about my background. I'm a native of Detroit, Michigan. It's with great pleasure that I have the opportunity to serve as your superintendent of schools in the Chester Upland School District, which the appointment occurred July 1. Just a little bit about my inspiration and early career. I've probably been in education now more than 25 years, and I've been really inspired and passionate about the work that you see us doing here in the Chester Upland School District for many reasons. And one of those reasons for me, I probably have been doing education as long as I can remember, even as a child, when you have children who, you know, seek to or inspire to or imagine what they could be. And there was a time when I would come home from school with my grandfather because my grandfather had a third grade education. He could not read beyond the third grade. And so I would come home each day to play teacher to teach my grandfather how to read. And from there, I learned a passion for math and science, actually, because he was very well at that. And at the time, he was a worker for Chrysler, and I loved him dearly. And so I share this because in my early career, my first teaching position was third through fifth grade science on a cart for elementary school students, around 300 students or so. And I tell that story now, even here in the Chester Upland School District, when I have an opportunity to meet our new teachers, as I did yesterday for the orientation of our new staff coming into the district, because there's always a very exciting time. And you want to make sure that they stay and that we provide them the support that they need. I've had the opportunity to do this work across the country now in urban and suburban school settings and in public, private, and charter schools. I've served as a teacher, but I've also had the opportunity to serve as a school leader, assistant principal, and a central office administrator. So understanding a lot of the challenges that happens across school systems, but also understanding the levels of success that we absolutely can achieve. And as Receiver Nichols shared, we are in receivership, but we are a lot closer than you know in terms of our greatness and where we can be in the direction we want to go in. And so I look forward to those opportunities here as I share some of the information around the University of Virginia and what that looks like, because it's very important to not only develop your teachers in the classroom that are with our students day to day, but also with our school leaders and our district administrators to provide support to schools. And so I'm looking forward to that opportunity. I have been here in the Chester Upland School District since 2021, where I've had the opportunity to serve on the recovery team and see over time and work with this current team around the work that you will learn more about today. So I want to start with this quote here, because this is a constant theme that you will hear me talk about in the work that we do here in the Chester Upland School District. Every system is perfectly designed to get the result that it does. And this is a quote by Dr. Deming. Again, every system is perfectly designed to get the result that it does. And so if we are not getting the results that we want to see, it is a systemic change that has to happen. It's not one individual in a particular department. It is everyone at the same time focused on what those systems look like. And this is the work that we started to do over the summer that I'm excited to share. But I'm having technical issues here. So what I'd like to share, since June, which was our last receivers meeting of the year, our teams at the school and district level, we spent a lot of time in the months of July and August focused on this very thing. How do we begin to develop systems that we know will bring us a different result versus starting the school year with being reactive to behaviors that we don't want to see in our organization, whether that be instructionally, whether that be in how we lead, whether that be in how we interact with our stakeholders. How do we change this systemically? And so what I'm going to share next is some of the work that we have been doing. So our partnership for leaders in education with the University of Virginia, a lot of this work began the week of July 7th. So immediately following our last receivers meeting in June. So our district and school level leaders traveled to the University of Virginia to work collaboratively with our own teams, as well as with a network of leaders across the country. And the purpose of this was to develop and to work on our plans for implementation as we began the school year. And so, although we have a 2-year commitment with the University of Virginia, well, there will be professional development for our leaders, either on site or at the university. Our main focus over the last 4 to 6 weeks or so was to develop a 90-day plan, because you want to hit the ground running. You don't want to just start school and there's a reaction to, again, whatever may be happening in a school over time, those first few weeks of school. You want to make sure that you have a plan in place of how we're going to address the issues and stay focused on what we say those areas of concern are. So one of the key things that we did, which is extremely important because we've talked about this over time with our team, is what is our mission? What is our vision? Well, that has to start with a purpose. That has to start with our why and what that looks like. And so what I'm sharing here, what I would like to share, this is our why, our purpose that we were able to develop together as district and school leaders around what is the work we're going to be intentional about this school year. And so this is something we developed together. The community lacks equitable access to education, healthcare, economic, and workforce development. Therefore, the Chester Upland School District will enhance executive leadership capabilities in central office and at each school, geared towards fostering greater collaboration and efficiency in implementing strategies and frameworks. Sustainability, and equity will be achieved by setting collaborative and collective standards for communication, accountability, operations, and student success monitoring. In this way, we will guarantee every student's success, ensuring they graduate from high school prepared for further education or careers and equipped to make meaningful contributions to our global society. This is extremely important because this is something that not one individual just said, here's the direction we're taking, this we're going to do, and put it out as something to say. We were very intentional about our position, where we are, what we feel our challenges are, what we feel the root causes of those challenges are, and how we needed to focus on our why as we prepare for the year. So I look forward to sharing this on our website, as well as continuing to focus in and talk about our why throughout the year and moving forward. It just keeps going. Okay. So as a result of our collective purpose, our district and school leaders, we were intentional about aligning our district and school implementation plans to the recovery plan that Receiver Nichols talked about, our strategic plan, which actually started before the amended recovery plan process. That was the work that we did with Mass Insight in terms of the interviews that were held, the stakeholder focus groups that were held, putting that together through 4 priorities. And so our working sessions and teamwork on developing our plans occurred again in the months of July and August. There is a district 90-day plan that will be shared, and there is a school level 90-day plan for each of the schools that will be shared. That is critical because schools need to be able to align to a district vision so that we are on the same page, focused on the same things. So those 4 priorities listed here. The first priority is building trust and collective investment in the district's vision for change. So every stakeholder sees their role in realizing the vision by implementing clearly aligned strategies. So we've spent a lot of time in each of our plans around what strategies we need to focus in on to obtain a particular objective. The second priority is around developing strong data-driven practices to identify and meet students' academic and holistic needs to accelerate learning and ensure student-centered supports. So the education of our children in our school district is more than an academic piece. It includes what behaviors look like. It is very holistic around our students. And it includes what those supports should look like. Priority 3 is developing aligned systems to attract, grow, and retain talent at all levels of our organization. And then priority 4 is to define and implement clear, proactive, and data-driven systems for managing finances, facilities, operations, and resources that would lead to every school having what they need to support their students. Now, while we have a limited time together today in this virtual community meeting, the reason I really want to point out these 4 priorities is because these are the 4 priorities, whether you see the strategic plan, whether it be the recovery plan, or our individual plans, they all align around these 4 priorities. So what are our next steps? So one of the things I talked about was the 90-day district plan, which has the 4 priorities that I just shared. And the 90-day school level plans actually have, should be flipped. The school level plans have 2 of those priorities where we want our schools to focus. And so there will be a communication plan that goes out the week of August 26th, because those plans will be shared publicly, and those plans will have, again, what I just talked about in terms of goals, what our outcomes would need to be. And it starts with what we call a problem of practice. So what is a problem that we are trying to solve in the district to improve our way of educating our students? So you will see that. And then there will be a number of outcomes, action steps, and who's responsible for those outcomes and action steps. So we look forward to sharing that again at the district level and by school. These plans have been drafted. Again, we'll communicate them out next week. And then the next part of that, the next step to this, as I shared earlier, is around the University of Virginia partnership, their site visit. So there will be a site visit either in mid-September or early October. And we have 2 levels of support for the district. One is actually faculty that will come here to Chester Upland School District to support our district and school leaders based on what we've developed in our plan. And we also have a partner district, if you will, that has gone through this process. So our partner district will be the York City School District. The York City School District is actually a district led by Dr. Andrea Berry, and that district recently move to the next level to move out of receivership. So they have been in this process for some time. We have a 2-year commitment at this time, and we're very encouraged that we will show significant progress. So essentially what happens is those 90-day plans that I talked about, our 90-day implementation plans, if there's a particular area of focus for a particular school leader, there will be one-on-one focus on providing supports to that individual school leader and their schools and their leadership teams. If there are initiatives at the district level where we need focus and support, they will provide that support as well. And then lastly, one of our next steps is around our district progress stakeholder dashboard. So developing that. So the purpose of that is so that our stakeholders have an opportunity to be updated in real time around the status of the work that we are doing. So it's not enough just to kind of talk about the actual plan and go through implementation. That next step around communication and closing that communication gap is to share the information around either the progress that we are making as a district, and or to be looking at what changes we may need to make because of barriers that we see. So those are some of the next steps. Update on the amended recovery plan. So Receiver Nichols actually initially shared some of the updates on the amended recovery plan. The district will work collaboratively along with PFM, which is the financial consultant support provided by the Pennsylvania Department of Education.
And Dr. Momin, I'm sorry to jump in, but the recovery plan, we can skip over this and get to more student stuff.
Okay.
Because I'll do this at the receiver meeting.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
So just give me. So the only thing I'll note, Receiver Nichols, the reason for sharing where we were with the recovery plan is to ensure the community that our UVA plan is not a separate plan. Our implementation plan, it is actually aligned to the recovery plan as well as the strategic plan. So there's not several separate plans that we're doing, but we're actually working on this in alignment. So scorecarding. Another new thing that the district will do as a whole this school year is around progress monitoring. Scorecarding is actually a tool that's used internally to support the district in setting its goals for the year organizationally, as well as by department. So what would essentially happen is we would initially develop the organizational scorecard based on the recovery plan. It would be divided by our key leaders who are a part of that team. And then that team would then cascade and share within a department those goals that they want to accomplish for the year, what resources are needed, and what other individuals are actually needed to support that. So this helps solve for silos. So this is to ensure that we don't have the silos by actually doing these scorecards collaboratively across departments. So what resources may be needed in one department may also be needed in another department, and or a project that one department may be working on, so we are not duplicating efforts, may be able to coordinate with another. So scorecarding, and I look forward to sharing that as well. This gives us opportunity to progress monitor, to assess our needs, to communicate, again, the status of where we are to stakeholders. So the scorecard is something that we will use initially with the community until we have the opportunity to actually build out a dashboard that can be utilized in real time. School configuration. So I wanted to share for the school year where we are with our school leaders. At Chester High School, we have Principal Popley, and as principal, as assistant principal, you can see here Dr. Burrell returning, and Mr. Parker is a new assistant principal for Chester High School. For STEM Academy, our new principal of STEM Academy is Principal Brown, and the assistant principal, Megan Scrow. Our Digital Academy program at Chester High School, which is a cyber program, it is not an actual school. It is actually a program within the school system, which gives our students a cyber option. We have a director, and his name is Mr. Yeoman. Prior to us actually assigning a Digital Academy director to this program, it actually was also a part of assistant principal role. And we wanted to be mindful of the attention that our cyber program needs in order to be more competitive, in order to provide our students who are in this digital program what they need educationally. And this goes across grades from 3rd to 12th grade. Just an update on our career and technical education. There are actually 10 pathways that we have in the Chester Upland School District for students, and that includes agriculture, automotive, communications, cosmetology, criminal justice, culinary arts, engineering, management information systems, marketing, and a new teachers academy. So there are 10 pathways that students have an opportunity to participate and get certifications in our district. Then you have Edgemont Scholars Academy and Stetzer, which are now a campus. And I have this here so that it is clear to the community what this looks like. So what you have is a head principal over the 2 schools across the campuses. Stetzer Elementary has an assistant principal. The elementary, ESA Elementary has an assistant principal. And the middle school, the new middle school campus moving here to 1350 will also have an assistant principal. So a good problem that we've had in the district is that we've been over capacity with our elementary school students. In order to make more room and opportunity for more elementary school students to be educated in our system, we have made a separate school for the middle school students of ESA. So the students from 1450 are transitioning to 1350 for the upcoming school year. Then we have Toby Farms with Principal Donifrey and a vacancy for the assistant principal. And we are currently recruiting for that role. Then we have CUSA, which has Principal Loper with Dr. Odom, as well as assistant principal, and then the principal of Main Street, Principal Medley. The reason you have at Main Street a principal but not an assistant principal at this time is due to the size enrollment numbers. So I wanted to give an update on the vacancies that we have at this time. So currently we are recruiting for our current vacancies. There are 35 vacancies for teaching and non-teaching positions. Okay. Most of the teaching vacancies are due to three main areas, and that includes the transition of our middle school students from 1450 Edgemont to the new building at 1350 Edgemont, requiring additional staff. The second is increased enrollment due to the opening of the new middle school location. So currently we are at capacity. And then third, certification issues across the district. We always want to ensure that we have highly qualified, certified teachers before our students, and we always address that as quickly as we can. There will also be a more detailed presentation by the HR department for the August 29th receivers meeting. The organizational chart. The organizational chart was one of the things that was presented in the June board meeting, and an updated organizational chart. There's been some revisions to it, and that will be added to our website in September. However, our district and school leaders, as Receiver Nichols shared, we look forward to our first meet and greet with the community during our back to school event on August 27th, and our second immediately following the August 29th receivers meeting to talk more about our respective departments, to support the district, as well as initiatives where you may be interested in supporting. So more detailed workshops open to the community will occur following the approval of the district's amended recovery plan. So each of our leaders at the district and school level look forward to talking more about their respective departments and the work that they're doing at the school level. Facilities. I wanted to share a few of our facilities updates here, but there will also be an opportunity for me to share those facilities updates in our superintendent's written report that'll happen on a monthly basis. So that monthly report, outside of the presentation at the board, which kind of gives you some updates of events, this will give you more updates around the work that we are doing. So this summer, a project has been underway to replace 6 existing rooftop air conditioning units at CUSA. The project was funded by ESSER and was completed through a Guaranteed Energy Savings Act project by CMTA with DWD. This is a Delaware County Union mechanical contractor. The scope of this work of this project is to help improve the learning environment at the facility through improved indoor air quality. So the improved filtration system, the new units incorporated are capable of capturing smaller particles, allergens, and pollutants than the existing system. And this provides clear air to each space where the learning environment is our focus on supporting our students. Here are just some examples here. To the left, you can see in the first picture what the previous filters look like, and then in the second, what the new ones look like. We also have here a picture of the windows that have been installed at CUSA. So this just looks amazing. This was our window project, which included the removal and replacement of existing window systems at CUSA Elementary. And the improvements will decrease energy consumption within the building. So this is just one of those pictures. Here is a picture of the CUSA roof upgrades that happened, and this included the removal and replacement of wet insulation and of the liquid applied roofing system. So there's a picture of that. There looks like there's a hand up.
It's me, Dr. Mumi.
Yes, Board Member McLaren.
Good evening. Is that why the playground has been removed?
That is a great question. That is not why the playground has been removed. So the playgrounds are also another project in the district, and you will see the playgrounds being replaced at the elementary school. So that although we have teaching and learning in a traditional classroom, there is also teaching and learning on the playground. And we want to make sure that those areas are not only safe, but is actually an area where our students can learn through play. So thank you for asking that question. But we also have a playground initiative. The next is Toby Farms. So at Toby Farms, we had the HVAC and window project, which included the installation of a new HVAC system where there was currently no HVAC within the classroom areas. And there's a number of other things that are happening at Toby Farms, as well as new windows and flooring and ceiling grids. And I believe I have some pictures here for you for that one as well. So here are some pictures of the work that's being done at Toby Farms, where we are expecting to start the beginning of the school year, where all of our students are at Toby Farms. So this previous school year, some of the Toby Farms students were here at 1350 while some of the work was being done. This year, we expect to bring all of our students back together under the Toby Farms roof so we can begin school. And then here's another picture here, windows. So staying connected, please stay connected with us in our various platforms, whether it be on our website. Our website is actually an area that we are also developing this school year as part of our communications plan. Our Clipper TV, bi-weekly, I generally have videos providing updates to the district with the superintendent video updates as well. Staying connected to us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. There are so many opportunities to learn more about the work that we are doing in the district and the excitement that the children have around their teaching and learning, and any opportunity that you have. If you could reshare, like, host those things that get shared regularly, we would appreciate that, but please follow to learn more information here. The LinkedIn page is also another project that will happen this year. Right now, it's utilized to put positions on, but there is a lot of opportunity for us to actually share content and things like this information that we have. Our first day of school, this is a reminder that the first day of school starts September 3rd. I'm going to look to see if there are any questions in the webinar chat, because we do have time for that. But there's also there will be an email created, and it is called CUSD community at chesteruplandsd.org. And that is for us to be able to take comments, suggestions, recommendations regularly. So that is shared here. And Receiver Nichols, before I pause, because we do have the time, I don't know if you want me to pause and actually go into the 90-day planning that I talked about earlier, because there is time to do it. I just didn't know if we would have time, or if you would want me to use this platform to go into more detail about those actual plans that I discussed in the beginning.
Dr. Momin, I would like for us to do some engagement with the community if possible.
Yep.
I just saw some questions that are in the Q&A section. If we can address some of that,
Yep.
and again, open up for people who potentially may have additional questions specifically around students, student data charter, so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Momin,
Thank you.
I did keep a track of the questions that were coming in. So we have a question that came in from Mrs. Mosley regarding, it was charter school enrollment. How is it being verified monthly now that Chester Upland School District is consistently decreased over the past 2 years? A question around Parent University and the lack of events that were hosted last year. The inaugural year, there were 6 events and we only hosted 1 event last year. And also about staffing vacancies for the prior year, what positions or processes are being created that will directly increase academic skills of our students and test and proficiency compared to admin positions recently created by the superintendent. A concern as to why it appears that the need to increase math, science, and English scores on a more consistent trajectory is not being prioritized.
I'm sorry, do you want to go back to the first question so we could maybe answer them? I don't know that I could. You want me to just go through them one at a time? Because I know some of these questions were already asked before in the last.
Yes, are you able to see
meeting.
them? They're inside the question and answer because the chat was disabled. So they're in the question and answer space underneath of answer.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Oh, under answered. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for chat is disabled.
And off the top of my head, I know that the staffing question around vacancies, Dr. Momin did address that this evening, the number that currently are there. And 20 of them, if I'm not mistaken, are professional staff teachers. And I know that the HR department is actively recruiting. And a major reason why elementary and middle school areas at ESA. So I know that, again, that's being addressed. Listed the intermediate unit for recruitment retention bonus for the HR department. They're working diligently with EIU and central administration to get the vacancies filled. I can report, as I am in communication with the other receivers across the state, that the average vacancy in school districts lives about 40 to 45. So we are actually below the average, but we are working diligently again to address our vacancies that we have in Chester Upland at this point in time. And I know that Dr. Pless is presenting at the August 29th receivers meeting as well around the functions, the vacancies, positions, and the efforts.
Yes, thank you, Receiver Nichols.
Okay.
And you are correct. 20 of those positions are teacher related, and then 15 of those positions are non-instructional. So I talked about here the vacancies for the administrative roles at the schools, and then there's other positions across the district. And again, I gave the 3 major reasons why those vacancies exist. Parent University, again, I believe this was a comment made at the June board meeting. There should be more Parent University events hosted. There's surely money budgeted for these Parent University opportunities, and it would take a committee to plan for these things within our district to support our initiatives. And I'm looking forward to that. Therein lies the family engagement opportunities in the charter, in the organizational chart that was shared in June. Those are part-time positions. They are typical positions in order to support making a connection with parents and the schools on a regular basis in terms of their needs. And I think one of the things that would also benefit Parent University to have more events is if we actually have, if we're able to recruit and have more parents on the committees for Parent University that actually have students in the district. So, supporting that effort to increase that effort there. I just want to speak a little bit about the organizational chart, because the organizational chart is not something that was just created by me in order to just create some positions coming out of my office. We were actually very intentional about the organizational chart, and the organizational chart is actually something that was discussed during our audit with Deloitte and Touche. And this is around the ESSER dollars and our title funds and any other federal funds. So one of the things that has to happen when you have grant funds is they ask you, how are you going to sustain those positions? Generally, you're awarded funding when you are able to show and plan as an organization for actually being able to sustain positions that are needed for an organization. Therein lies the reason you even apply for the dollars. So what would happen is ESSER ends on November 30th of this year. So any positions that we've had within the district that have been beneficial to our district, if we had no other funding sources or did not plan for any other funding sources for those opportunities, those jobs would be eliminated. We would have to let those individuals go. That's part of it. The other, what you see in terms of positions that may be new and title, actually weren't newly created positions. And this is why I'm going to go back to Deloitte and Touche, because Deloitte and Touche, once I explained the process around how intentional we were with our positions, asked that they could actually use what we did with our organizational chart and how we would fund moving forward, if they could use that as an example across the Commonwealth. So for example, the question that was asked around the Director of Equitable Learning and Support. Well, one of the things the district actually needs is support around equity and what that looks like, so that we're educating all of our students and providing access to all of our students. Well, instead of having a separate SEL coordinator, for example, that also had been doing a number of other positions that had not been created in the district and that role, we kind of looked at what are the qualifications, what are the requirements, what do we need to get accomplished, what is our goal? can we actually offer an individual or individuals who are already in the district just a little more money to take on some of the work around what we want to accomplish in our initiatives versus creating all new jobs. Many districts that do DEIB work actually have directors for that. So that would be an entirely another salary, not the same as in adding additional funds for resources for you, what you know individuals are able to do. So there's a few positions like that. The director of federal programs and development is another. We need a development coordinator to supporters that support our district. There's only so much we can do with the current dollars that we receive. We don't have the tax base that we need. And so there's an opportunity to do development to support that. There's also some positions that are not positions, if you will, they're actually stipends. They're stipends that are being paid. So what you'll find is when you see the organizational chart, to bring clarity to it, it's color coded so that you can see what positions the district actually is not paying for, what positions are actually an additional stipend. So for example, if you have an attendance lead or security lead paying additional and a stipend, just like you would a teacher stipend for those roles. And so that brings clarity to it. And again, what's more important is around the work that's being done, which is why I look forward to us having the meet and greet so that the individuals that are on that org chart can actually have direct discussion with the community at large around the work that we're doing for our students. And I see Board Member Morales, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add about the parent university. We've asked, we have requested several times that members within our school district who are part of the PTO or just members that are inside of that have children attending certain schools, if you are interested in joining parent university, to please reach out so that we can have more parent representation in that space. But also, you know, we haven't been able to market it the way that we're supposed to. So if we can have support with getting parents who are interested in serving in that capacity, that are going to be consistent and show up, I think that that would help, because what we really need in that space is parents that can take the information from that space back to their schools and back to their parents. Word of mouth is the easiest way of transferring information now. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you for that,
And
Board
thank you
Member
for,
Morales.
yeah, thank you for that, Board Member Morales. And on that, from my standpoint, central administration, we're not holding anything back. So whatever parent university wants to do, those grant dollars are there. Most certainly, you have the full support of central administration to go ahead and do what's needed. I agree, and Board Member Morales, I know you and I have spoke about it. Even our messaging, I know Dr. Mameen's working on that in her communication plan, how we market to, get the parents that we need. We have to do a better job with marketing everything in Chester Upland School District. So I think, and we also are trying to have people take part in, owning some stuff from the community and within the district. So again, open to people who want to go out and help us to recruit parents, because that is key and crucial. We do have some other strategies that we'll be using this year. I know Ms. Alvarez not on this Zoom tonight, but she had talked to me about some other strategies that she was going to do. So you all have our full support to have as many events as you want to. I just received a text from our we only had one event submitted. Oh, so we only had one event submitted by Parent University. We still have unspent money for 23-24. Funds are available. So there you have it. The funds are available. Parent University, you can submit as many events as you want, as long as the dollar is covered in the grant. Ms. Hells just sent me that text message.
Thank you, Receiver Nichols.
Dr. Mameen, a part of what has been spoken of, along with what Ms. Morales has just said, is that Parent University wants to move into the schools so that we can help support and build the parent PTOs within the schools. Talking about having those events at individual schools so that the travel is not great on the other parents when we go to one school, as opposed to just having the same activity at each school, maybe at a different time. So there has been some discussion about that, because the goal for Parent University was to actually build individual PTOs
Yes.
at schools.
Thank you for that, Board Member McLaren. You are absolutely right. That is our vision here at the district. Is the last conversation that I had with our Chief of Staff, Ms. Avaret, who in turn had that conversation with Parent University. So we look forward to building those opportunities at the school level, which is why we made an investment again in the family engagement specialists, for there to be family engagement specialists to support those types of school level efforts at the elementary, middle, and high school level. It looks like there's another hand.
If you could address where parents can go to get information related to uniform, school supplies. I know on the Facebook page, it was posted that the information was mailed out, but a lot of parents have not received the information and are unable to get in contact with anyone within the district or at the school level regarding uniforms and supplies.
Yes, uniforms and school supplies are at the school level with the building principals, and every principal actually has a welcome back letter, which includes that information because I saw them. However, as I shared, Board Member Morales, I'll have an update of my own, a written update that goes out to the community, and the links to those letters will be included. And so I can share that with the links in my letter this week as well. So those links will take parents directly to the individual school pages, but they are on the school pages on our
Yeah.
website.
Okay, and Dr. Mumin, can we take it a step further? I'm going to ask Mr. Armour if we can get it on the Access channel, the website, social media outlets, and also through the class tag app that we have, just so that we can hit all different layers. And even
Yeah.
if we need to run it in one of the, what is it, the Spirit News or something, I can call and see if they can do something. But they come out next Wednesday. We can have something just out so that people can have it, every which way.
Yes, Ms. Cleveland supports on all those platforms with the school, so we can absolutely have Ms. Cleveland do that. I believe Ms. Thompson. But you'll have to put it in the chat, Ms. Thompson, if you have a question. I see your hand up. I just wanted to go back. I'm sorry.
And I would say also about the uniforms. Earlier in the summer, there was a Facebook post that was taken down regarding the uniforms and the uniform being strictly enforced this year. I know it was taken down, but there was no further clarification regarding what that meant about the uniform being strictly enforced, and there was no clarification on what the actual uniform is for this year. So I assume that will be in the letter, but if you could just address how the district will be executing the uniform policy this year.
Yes, the uniform policy is executed at the school level. Each school is responsible under its building principal. The reason that original post was taken down because it had not been approved by the principal to go out, and it had not been approved by the district to go out if there were to be a change. Since that time, when we took it down, that's when our district took the time to talk with each of the principals around their expectations, what they would be doing, and that's all communicated in their letters. And as Receiver Nichols shared, we'll make sure that on as many platforms as we can, we'll get that information out.
And also, we can have it at the back to school event on Tuesday. I know every school is represented at the back to school event. All principals and VPs will be in attendance as well. So we'll make sure that we have that information. It is this Tuesday behind Chester High School in Air Park. I believe it starts at 3 or 4 p.m. If you come early, that's great. We'll have food, fun, and entertainment.
The other part I would like to go back to on the question around academics. So academics is our priority here in the Chester Upland School District. Everything we do is to work towards that effort, which is why I talked about the 90-day plans and the focus that each school level has, which they have not had before. So an opportunity for training at the district and school level, which has not happened before. In the district. This would not be a platform for us to, of course, be able to get through the entire 90-day plan. We look forward to sharing those plans. There are 4 priorities that I shared. Those 4 priorities, one is around building trust. So it's around culture and climate, mission, vision, what that looks like. The second priority is around instruction. The third priority is around our recruitment and retention efforts and training, our talent. And then the fourth around finances and operations. Although there are 4 that the district is focusing on, there are 2 in particular of those 4 that the schools are focusing on. One is around culture and climate, and the other is around instruction, because the instruction and supports around behavioral education cannot be in isolation. Yes, we have scores on tests, but our students, we have to consider how we support the whole child around all of their needs. And so a part of it is academic, but also a part of it is behavioral. Also a part of it is mental health and the supports that they may need in those areas. A part of it is around social emotional learning and what that means, so that we have a holistic approach to how we are supporting our students. So in terms of instruction, and what that looks like specifically for our schools, that is very detailed in the 90-day plans, so that the first 90 days of school, we are not being reactive to what may occur in a school, but we are being proactive around teaching and learning and what that looks like. In order to make that happen, we need our students in school. So one of our issues has been around attendance. We probably ended around 79% or so with the last reporting that we had, with the lowest being in the Digital Academy and at Chester High School, and then others following along that line. And so identifying ways that we can support our students who are not coming to school. It cannot always be punitive. Yes, we have an attendance center, an attendance improvement center, which is led by Ms. Yarbray. But to support our students, when we go to court because kids are not coming to school, or, this punitive way of doing this is not helping our students, because once they get to court, it's identify all the other resources, support, struggles that they may have. And we want to do a better job at the district and school level around providing those supports to our students so that they are showing up to school. We need our students in school in order to educate them.
Dr. Momin, could you speak to what's being done regarding safety, specifically at Toby Farms, as it relates to student conflict fighting? Yeah, that is specifically is mentioned in Toby Farms, but just student fights and disciplinary safety all around within the district, with specific focus on Toby Farms.
Yes, so, the behavioral aspect, again, educating the whole child. So we're not just educating students academically. We have to get to a place of educating our students behaviorally, and conflict resolution, and what that looks like district-wide. I want to return to the organizational chart that I mentioned, because again, we were intentional about how that organizational chart was organized. What has happened under that organizational chart is the climate managers have been moved under the attendance office, the attendance improvement office, because climate managers are not security guards. And so providing support to our security around training and what that looks like, but also making sure we utilize our climate managers in a more effective way when we think about teaching and learning. Again, I want to return to the 4 priorities because one of the things that I talked about was aligning in terms of roles, responsibilities, what one should be doing in a particular role, and then providing the training that's needed for those roles. So it's not enough just to increase volume in security or volume in climate managers. We must make sure that our staff is properly trained to provide the necessary support to all of our students.
Dr. McLean, there is a program that I know ESA and Toby Farms was a part of from the DCIU with regards to conflict resolution. It might not be that name, but it was training teachers. Are they ready for the next step in September, or I'm not sure where they are in the process? Do you know?
With the DCIU?
Yes. What?
I can't answer to where they are in the process with the DCIU, but what I can answer to is the 90-day plans that are specific around the challenges for each of the schools. It is written into their plans and how they can move forward and the support that they need, not only locally that we can get, but the support that we will get from the University of Virginia being on site and working with our school leaders and district leaders in a particular area.
Dr. Mumin, there's a request for data that will show how our students performed this year compared to the 2022-2023 school year. Is that something that can be put together and presented for the public either at the next receivers meeting or the September receivers meeting?
Yes. Thank you.
And it seems the 90-day plans have a lot of information, Dr. Mean. Excuse, and I probably have it in my inbox. I'm sorry, I've been out of the office for over a week. When are we planning to get those out to the public?
They're internal, but they
building.
absolutely, they're internal and they were just completed. And so I wanted to afford the school leaders the opportunity to talk about their plans and then disseminate them in that way, but we absolutely can share them. They were completed and submitted this past week. We've been working on them the past 5 weeks, and they were completed and submitted to UVA for review, for support. And then I had a call this past week. So we've been more than happy to do that, but also would like to empower our school leaders and give them an opportunity to present on their plans.
Dr. Mumin, could you speak a little bit about the Head Start program for students 4 years up 3 or 4? We have a parent who is new to the district and wants to be able to enroll their student. Where can they go for information, or who should they reach out to?
Yes, absolutely. So Dr. Parker is our Chief Academic Officer. And I don't know if I could share in the chat and you all would get it. See, but it's out to everyone. Yes, to everyone. Yeah, to everyone. If you could send C. Parker at ChesterUplandSD.org. That's our Chief Academic Officer who actually oversees our pre-K Counts program. Now, the pre-K Counts program is a state-funded program in our district. Head Start is actually a federal program, not in our district. What happens is, well, 2 things. We want this parent to reach out to Dr. Parker as soon as possible because that program is going to fill quickly, right? We only have so many slots that we're allotted by the state. So we can't just enroll like we can in any other grade in the district. We only are allotted so many slots. If that doesn't happen and we're full in pre-K counts, then what we do is we support the parent in connecting with Head Start. So we will make that connection. But first, we'd like to see if we have space already for pre-K counts for the child. Does that answer the question? I'm sorry.
There's a comment in the chat where they're asking, please direct them to the schools to pick up the full application so that the secretaries may explain the process and what is needed.
Is that a question? Is that?
Somebody's making a comment.
Yeah.
H. Summers is asking that we please direct them to the school so that they can pick up the applications, so that the secretaries may explain the process and what is needed.
Yes,
that counts.
That is one way it could be done. But the other is to also reach out at the district level, you know, to Dr. Parker. And the reason I say this is if this is a new parent and they're not from the community, they may not know what school to go to. So I definitely don't want to lose any parents, and I don't want them to feel like they have to go around and find a school. If they're near a school, please go into the school, absolutely, and any school will help you. But if that's not the case, you can also reach out directly to our chief academic officer, and we will support right here in the district office. So thank you.
Is there a phone number, Dr. Mumin, that they could have for the district office?
I have the email address that I gave for Dr. Parker. Let me see if I can get a number for you. I don't think I have another phone over here.
Dr. Parker responds to her emails very quickly. I
She
think
does.
phone for her would be, it would be the response to she's one of the persons at the district that answers very quickly.
Okay. And it also can be found online. So again, there's multiple ways, but if this parent has access to email, it could email Dr. Park. We'd be glad to take care of it. But everything we've described, these are other ways to also do it, as well as our website, which is www.chesteruplandsd.org. So thank you, Board Member Morales.
And then the last question to take for public and everything, even the question that have already been answered here will still be answered again so that the answer is notated and will be made publicly. However, I feel like this question is important because it's regarding the GPAs for high school students and their transcripts. And the question is, one, will the schools be properly educated about high school student transcripts and how their GPA is calculated? Students who dropped classes in 23-24 were given a grade of 50% on their roster for the dropped classes, which doesn't seem accurate because those grades calculate into their GPAs. Please advise because this affects their college futures. So if you could speak a little bit to that and what is being done to mitigate. I know sometimes we do have issues with either Power School and grades and how, you know, things of that nature, but what's being done to mitigate that and any students that have been impacted by this in the 23-24 school year, is there a remedy for that?
If there are any concerns about the GPAs or transcripts, I would recommend that a parent start with the school at either Chester High School or STEM Academy with the building principals to resolve the issue. If it cannot be resolved at the building level, we will be glad to support.
And so if you didn't hear your question read out loud, please know that that does not mean that it's not going to be answered. All of the questions, the ones read aloud and not read aloud, will still be answered, as Dr. Mumin said, within 3 business days, so way in advance of the August 29th receivers meeting. So once you receive that answer, if you are not satisfied with that answer, you can always bring it to the public for during public session at the receivers meeting.
Are there any other questions? Or Receiver Nichols, I wanted to turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Mumin. Yeah, we are going to do, a better job with getting information out. We're working on it. We're working through it. The 90-day plans, from what I'm gathering, have a lot of information in it. This Zoom was a way to get things started as an introductory thing for this school year. But again, we will be more in personable to address the concerns and questions that community members have. We ask that you work with us. We really want everyone to work with us. I know that some of you have been working with us for a very long time. Some people are new to it, but our parents, our community members are important, near and dear for us. Remember, we're doing this for children. I do know that great things are happening, and we have to do a great job with laying everything out. And it may be that we have some time where we bring individuals in to have some discussions, and there may be times where we can have some recorded sessions where we can post those interactions with community members and parents so that people can see the dialogue that's happening. But again, this is a start to many things that will get better each and every time that we do them. I thank you all for, coming out this evening, being patient, and look forward to seeing you in the coming days and weeks, as there are a lot of events that are coming up. Even, I don't know if anyone mentioned this, September 3rd is the first day of school, the ringing of the bell ceremonies, where everyone will be out from an administrative standpoint, welcoming our students back with some of our community organizations. We welcome all parents to come, and that is also an opportunity for you to dialogue with us at Chester Upland School District.
Thank you, Receiver Nichols. If there are no additional questions or comments, we will end the virtual community meeting at this time. And we really look forward to continuing this type of dialogue throughout the year and working with you, as Receiver Nichols shared, working with you together in the best interest of our children. Thank you.